State Senator from St. Clair, Phil Pavlov, is chair of the Education Committee. And he's got a package of bills that are in that committee right now that were promoted by Senator Pat Colbeck to repeal and replace the controversial Common Core standards here in Michigan. And Senator Pavlov joins us on the show this morning to discuss it. Good morning. How you been?
Hey, been good, Frank. How about you?
Very well. So this came up, and your committee's been looking at it. Why is Common Core a good or a bad idea?
Well, it's not a good idea. It's been a disastrous national experiment, and we're moving away from it here in Michigan. My partner in this, Senator Colbeck, has drafted a very reasonable and a new bill that not only repeals Common Core, but replaces it with a standard until Michigan can get its own team on the field, if you will. And so, we've looked at Common Core. It's been failing in the classrooms. It's been frustrating parents. More importantly, it's been shortchanging the students and wiping out our local control. So today we start the path in our Senate committee meeting at noon to repeal this and get on with about taking the responsibility of education back from the federal government, moving it to the states.
Okay, where specifically has it failed students?
Well, I mean, look, it hasn't been proven. We've been moving this conversation about standards, and we've moved away from instruction. And so this confusion among how we're going to teach math and what we're going to require students to learn has not been the consistent kind of education that students really need to be receiving. It's taken away a lot of energy from parents as they try to grapple with trying to do homework with their students, and that can't be a good thing.
So who gained from it?
Well, I think the big funders and the national reform people certainly poured a lot of money in it. It was held up to states as a form of ransom. Join our Common Core, let's build the national education system, and we'll give you all kinds of money. Many states opted in for the money. And what's interesting is the new federal legislation really takes out all of that now. And they no longer are incentivizing states to adopt Common Core. There's no money. There's no hush money associated with it. And it's just time that that we finally turn the corner here in Michigan. We attempted it in 2012. We're unsuccessful, but I think we've got a really good shot at it right now.
Senator Pavlov, what will you replace it with? What's the object?
Well, we're going to replace it with the standard that we know works, and we're going to choose the Massachusetts standards. Number one, it's been effective at educating students in Massachusetts. Parents are familiar with it. The tests and the standards are internationally benchmarked, and they're not politically biased. I mean, I think that's the important thing. In fact, the business leaders from Michigan found the Massachusetts standards to be the best on every measure. So what we'll do is we'll repeal the Common Core, replace it with the Massachusetts standards, and we'll have a long conversation about developing Michigan standards, because I will tell you there are very capable education professionals in this state that are very well equipped to develop good standards. Michigan has always led the country in our rigor, in our standards, and we need to shed this federal overreach and get on about educating kids and away from all of these standards that prove to be unproductive.
Senator Pavlov, have you gotten the nod to go ahead with this from Senator Meekhoff, the leader of the chamber?
Well, he hasn't said no. So we're gonna have our first hearing today, and we've got a number of folks from the leadership team that have co-sponsored this bill. Senator Horn, Senator Jones, Majority Floor Leader Kowal is a sponsor, Mike Shirkey, Tanya Shoemaker. So we've got a number of key supporters within the leadership team, and I think that the time has come to have this conversation and have it once and for all.
The venerable Mike Shirkey is on board. I'm glad to hear that. Now, what about the House? So what do you hear from your counterparts in the House? Are they in favor of what you're doing?
Well, I hope so, because Representative Gary Glenn is the sponsor in the House, and I know that he's working with his committee chair and his leadership team to begin the hearings there as well. Clearly, we need a coordinated effort. We just happen to be ready to go now, and I hope that after today's hearing, the House members look at this and say, you know what, Colbeck and Glenn are on spot with this legislation, and let's take this control back from the federal government. And I think that that gives us the kind of momentum that we need to make this big change. And I think parents and people around the state of Michigan have been clamoring for this, and I think we're ready to go.
So the soonest that could go into place would be like next fall, right?
Yeah, I think we could have an accelerated timeline when students come back in 2016 in the fall that they're operating under a standard that makes sense, and then the focus goes back to instruction and not this, this exercise about activity, and we get back more toward the accomplishment of teaching kids what they really need to do to fill the jobs that are out there in the next phase of their life.
Yeah. Well, now if you can just keep the boys out of my niece's bathroom, I'll be really pleased.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. I mean, we see more of this control coming. The one thing that we do know about Michigan, it's been a long-held tradition that it's a citizen control of public education, and you have to have and uphold the parental rights in this. And the State Board of Education's recent departure into something that is so far removed from instructing kids, goes after both of those strongly held principles in Michigan. So State Board of Education ought to be doing things that result in good quality instruction. There's plenty of other issues that are more pressing than developing pathways for people into bathrooms and lockers.
I hear you. Hey, thanks for being with us. Take care. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, Frank. Have a great day.
State Senator Phil Pavlov, the chair of the Education Committee in the Senate.